Arguably, the most impactful user in the Tron franchise is the legendary Kevin Flynn, whose role in the outworking of the story is unforgettable. In this video, I'd like to explore the history of Kevin Flynn and how he fundamentally transformed the digital frontier. Kevin was born in New Jersey and later attended Caltech, where he received a doctorate. Shortly after this, he was recruited by Encom, an American multinational computer technology corporation. As a computer programmer, Flynn began writing code for some of Encom's best-selling video games, including Space Paranoids, Matrix Blaster, Vice Squad, and Light Cycles. Eventually, the code he wrote for these games was stolen by fellow Encom programmer Edward Dillinger while they were still in development. 3 months later, Dillinger presented these games to the company as his own without even bothering to change their names. Subsequently, Dillinger was quickly promoted and eventually rose to the rank of Executive VP. He fired Flynn shortly thereafter. After his exit from Encom, Kevin founded Flynn's Arcade, an establishment which held several classic arcade machines along with many of his own creations. In an effort to obtain evidence to expose Dillinger's fraud, Flynn made several attempts to hack into the Encom mainframe from his arcade with a program he had built called the Codified Likeness Utility, or CLUE for short. After infiltrating the Encom mainframe, Flynn discovered the Master Control program, a development of Dillinger's which was built on top of an old chess program. As the system administrator, the MCP had located and worked to protect the incriminating data Flynn was looking for. As a result of the breach, Dillinger shut down all access to the mainframe, locking out Encom's own programmers, including Alan Bradley, who had been developing a security program named Tron. Flynn then asked for help from his ex-girlfriend Laura, who was currently dating Alan. The three formulated a plan for Flynn to forge a Group 6 access so that Bradley could run his Tron program, using it to shut down the MCP. Afterwards, they would be able to release the incriminating evidence. Flynn then accessed Laura's terminal, but was immediately recognized by the MCP, who fired on the user with Laura's experimental matter-transporting laser. As a result, Flynn's body was transferred into digital form and was loaded onto the game grid, where he was forced to fight in the games as a gladiator. Flynn would go on to discover the extensive abilities available to him as a user in the system, including the ability to alter the environment around him. After joining forces with Tron and Yuri, a program written by Laura, the three were successful in gaining access to and defeating the MCP. Afterwards, Flynn was able to return to the real world and retrieve the evidence needed to expose Dillinger. This led to Flynn's promotion to the position of Encom CEO. He then placed Alan and Laura on the board of directors. In the years that followed, Flynn continued to use Laura's digitizing laser to return to the cyber world, eventually creating a digital frontier called the Grid, built in a private server in the basement of his arcade. The Grid served as a nearly limitless open platform wherein Flynn could channel his creativity and run experiments to explore almost any curiosity. As a security measure, Flynn copied Alan Bradley's Tron program from Encom's server and uploaded it to the Grid. He also recreated his original hacking program, CLUE, to operate in his absence, continuing to work with the objective of creating the perfect system. Their efforts resulted in the steady growth of the Grid's infrastructure, which started buzzing with activity as it became filled with all sorts of programs. However, after the birth of his son Sam, Kevin began spending more time away from the Grid. Because time on the Grid is perceived to pass some 50 times slower than in the real world, Flynn's absence for just a few days would seem to be several months for those who were living in the digital world. These extended absences strained Flynn's relationship with CLUE and added to the program's feelings of frustration. Tragedy struck in 1985 with the death of Kevin's wife. As he struggled to cope with this loss, he would go on to devote more time to his work on the Grid and would frequently leave Sam with his grandparents. Flynn spoke publicly about his vision of bringing real-world benefits from the digital frontier. He campaigned for the promulgation of open computer systems and even started giving away Encom software for free. Eventually, the grid would spontaneously manifest a new form of program referred to as isomorphic algorithms, or ISOs for short. Flynn came to view these ISOs as the key to fundamentally improving the human condition. A short time later, Kevin visited his old friend Alan Bradley and began to reveal to him the breakthrough discoveries in genetic algorithms and quantum teleportation, which in turn could lead to changes in science, medicine, and religion. Flynn mysteriously disappeared just 2 nights later, forcing Bradley to take his place as the interim CEO at Encom. In reality, the cause of Flynn's disappearance was due to an ambush by Clue, who had turned against his creator. While Flynn saw the ISOs as a cherished miracle, Clue understood them to be an imperfection in the system and a threat to his prime directive. During the ambush, Tron was able to draw enough of Clue's attention to allow Flynn to escape. However, he was unable to reach the portal connecting the grid to the outside world. After the portal closed, Flynn was trapped, as it was only able to be opened from the outside. Clue then took command of the grid and set forth to destroy the ISOs. Flynn's attempts to resist the rogue program only added to its strength, and as such, he was forced to stand by as he realized that the only way to put an end to Clue's reign was through reintegration, a process that would terminate both the program and its creator. Clue's genocide against the ISOs saw the destruction of all but one of these miraculous beings, an ISO named Cora, who was rescued by Flynn after the sacrifice made by a system monitor security program who was loyal to the users. Cora remained in exile and trained with Flynn at his home in the Outlands. As the cycles passed, Flynn was forced to come to grips with his failure and sought to find inner peace by adopting a Zen lifestyle. The game changed some 2 decades later with the arrival of Kevin's then adult son, Sam. Sam's arrival opened the portal once again, providing an 8-hour window to escape. Kevin was hesitant to head to the portal, however, fearing that this would play into Clue's plan. Sam would go on to force his father's hand as he left the hideout and returned to the city. Kevin and Cora followed Sam and rescued him from a fight with Clue's black guards at the end of Line Club. While they were able to escape, the Elder Flynn's identity disc was stolen, giving Clue what he needed to travel through the portal to the outside world. The decision was then made to race for the portal by means of a solar sailor. After the sailor unexpectedly docked with a carrier ship, the trio discovered Clue's plan to invade the outside world with an army of repurposed programs. Eventually, they were able to reclaim Flynn's disc and escape the carrier in a hijacked light jet with Clue's forces in heavy pursuit. With a little help from Tron, they were able to survive the subsequent dogfight. Shortly after this, Kevin secretly switched his identity disc with Cora's. After reaching the portal, they discovered Clue blocking the way, leading to a confrontation between the program and his maker. Kevin admitted his failure to Clue, apologizing for giving him an unattainable directive. Clue was unable to accept this admission and attacked his creator. After learning that Kevin was actually holding the ISO's disc, he then turned his attention to the portal in order to prevent Sam and Cora from escaping. Kevin was forced to begin the process of reintegration, sacrificing himself and destroying Clue in order to save his son and Cora, who were successful in returning to the outside world. After exiting the portal, Sam transferred data from the server into a flash drive, leaving many to speculate as to whether or not Flynn might still be somewhere inside the system. Either way, while their reintegration is believed to have been the end of line for both Kevin Flynn and his codified likeness utility, Kevin's sacrifice to save his son and his work to preserve the last ISO would not soon be forgotten. But I'm curious to know what you think of Kevin Flynn. Is there a part of his history that stands out the most to you? Do you think it's possible? And if so, would you like to see Flynn reappear either in the outside world or in the digital frontier? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more Tron and other sci-fi and fantasy news and lore. Thank you all so much for your support, and as always, have a very nerdy day.